So let me begin by asking questions. What does it mean to be a creative person? When they say someone is creative, what does that mean? Yes? Bringing something into life. I want you to know that first and foremost, you all are here because there is a cause. There is a reason why every one of you is a member of the team. But what is the organization looking at first? So let's begin with, what is the purpose of the creative team? Why are you in the creative team? To what reason are you part of that creative team? What is the goal? What are you expected to achieve? What is the organization expecting from you being a creative person? So the first thing I want you to know that you guys are not just creative persons. You people are agents of growth. Put it. Say, as a creative, I am an agent of growth. Now, how does a creative become an agent of growth? Can we put it in context to what each and every one does? You are a team lead, right? How do you think you are an agent of growth in the department?
If we're able to do what we are supposed to do for the larger picture, the larger growth of the organization, that's how the organization is. Maybe let's say content creation, to be able to sell a particular product. If we're able to sell it properly, we're able to get people to buy that product, which is what the organization needs. So if we do it well, the organization is growing.
Okay. For those of you who watch movie, let me just give you, movie is about storytelling, right? Now, people tell their story. It could be in form of fiction. It could be in form of a reality that they are trying to communicate. Why do you think it's important for them to put in creativity, some level of suspense, some level of emotionality into how they communicate their ideas? And not just that alone, no matter how beautiful they've been able to put that in place, they look for the best platform, places like Prime, YouTube, Netflix. Why do you think it's important to do that, to look for the big brands, to ensure that they market their product adequately? So it's not just the ability to do something good. And I've seen a lot of young creatives who are just intentional about how they do their job, but they are not intentional about how other people perceive it. So when you're talking about creativity, you're talking about who are your audience? Who are the people you're trying to communicate this thing to? And the most important question you should ask is that, how do I be able to engage and use my own skill to be able to engage others emotionally, psychologically, and be able to communicate the message? Now, you see, a lot of people do well in terms of creativity, but they don't sit down to understand how well this thing is communicated to their audience. I remember a few days ago, we were going out with Brown, I think on Saturday, and from a distance, we were approaching Mshel billboard. And then suddenly, the only thing we could see in the billboard is grow. And we asked ourselves, have we been able to communicate? Now, when the picture is closer, right on the laptop, we all are seeing that we can see everything. But now, because the people who are creative, they've done a wonderful job. They've created well, but they did not put into perspective their audience. Knowing that it is a billboard, people are coming from a far distance. Is it when they get to the front of the billboard that they will raise up their head and watch the billboard? They should be able to look at the billboard while driving. They don't have to strain their eyes. They don't have to think too much to be able to see what is in that billboard. And what we could be able to see is just the grow on the billboard. And best, Mshel Homes. And then something very tiny and slim called Hutu Exclusive. Now, how can we be able to, or how would we have communicated the message adequately? Now, one thing that if creative must be great creative, you must be able to think like your audience. So creativity is not just limited to what you do immediately and in your own eyes, you think you've done it well. Let's talk about video editing. As a video editor, how do you be able to captivate using the sound you put while editing those videos? At what point do you need to increase the tempo? At what point do you need to, maybe they are losing concentration, and bring out a feature that reactivates excitement and passion in people to keep glue to what you're trying to communicate to them? So the essence of all I'm trying to say is that when doing content, it is important to move with a sense of objectivity and a sense of purpose. And your goal as creative is to be able to, first of all, understand what is the purpose of this content. We want the organization to grow. This content, we want it to trend. We want it to be able to captivate every audience. So you are looking at whatever you do, be it as a social media marketer. My first 3 lines are my first caption. How do I ensure that my first 3 lines that people will read, even if they don't want to watch the video? How should my intro be? These are the things you should be looking out for. First, how do I captivate his attention? How do I make my design simple, not complicated, that people don't have to crack their head before they understand? If you want to create suspense, you have to be able to say, how do we attach emotion to this thing so that as people are looking at it, before they think of either to move on, you know how people's behavior are when they watch movie, they scroll on the internet. They are looking at what excites them, at what interests them. The moment they see that, they can get relaxed. The moment they begin to watch and you are not able to get their attention, you realize that you lose the audience. So a creative person must be able to understand every step, at every second, what am I trying to communicate? At what point do I get the buy-in of these people? So when we talk about the creative as agent of growth, it means that whatever you do should be able to make sense to anybody that is your target audience. And the best way to be able to do that is to be able to put yourself in the mind of your audience. If it were me, would this have been better? If it was me looking at this thing, how would I have done it differently? What other tools I can use? How can I make it better? Now, let me give you a perfect scenario when it comes to learning and developing creativity for yourself. Now, you see, a lot of people, when they succeed in something, for example, yes, you're part of Mshel Homes today, right? You've been brought into Mshel Homes because we believe that you have the potential and you have some sort of value to bring to the team. You're part of the team now. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to their learning behavior, they learn one side. If you know something well, for example, I want to give a very practical example with playing table tennis. For example, I'm very good in playing table tennis, but I only use my right hand to play table tennis. And you know, for a table tennis, the ball can also come in this direction. If I only know how to play with the front of my hand, the tendency that I will move this way to hit the ball is there. Have you seen people do that? Now, what if the ball is rushly placed in that direction? I will go in this direction and play the ball. If the person is fast, the best technique is to be able to learn how to use my backhand to be able to return the ball. But you know, it's very easy to learn how to use your right hand, and because you're good at it, you realize that people keep standing strong to what they believe. So they keep doing it in one direction, not knowing that there is a point of disadvantage of not learning the other way of doing things. So you realize people who learn something, so you may come with your level of creativity, you may be good at one thing, but you've not seen the need to understand the other side of bringing that creativity to be able to drive growth. So just imagine you are a creative person. You've learned the act of creativity. Now, I want to learn the act of captivating people in my video editing. I want to be able to know how to inculcate emotion using colors to attract people's audience. I want to be able to understand how I can use sound to be able to get people's emotion and attention to whatever I want them. I want to be able to understand how to be able to use sound within the video to still be able to keep my audience glued to what I want them to do. Now, a lot of people, because they are used to one strategy, they realize that they are not intentional. Why? Because it's usually painful. It usually takes time to learn new skills. So because you don't want to learn that skill, you keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing, not knowing that the same thing you keep doing, if you don't learn the other way, you can be of disadvantage. And that is what makes all the difference in content creation. It is what you can be able to do differently that others don't find it easy to do. So for example, I am playing with an opponent and I'm able to use both hands to navigate the ball without necessarily straining myself. But when it comes to that point where I am learning, it could be painful. I can even lose point at that time, isn't it? I can even throw the ball out as I'm learning. But what if I dedicate time? Now, one of the things people fail to realize is that why not learn during practice and don't learn during the game? Now, a lot of people out of pressure, they want to be able to use their left hand in the midst of the game. What happened? You realize that they will waste time, they will lose point, and they will say their work is bad. Now, a lot of creatives want to avoid that comment where people will tell them, this thing is not good, but allow me keep doing what I am doing. At least it gives result. You know, that sense of comfort is there. But the question you need to ask yourself is that, what is the best time for me to practice that thing that I don't know how to do? It is in your leisure time, not on the job. So you create extra time for capacity building. You create extra time for self-development. So by the time you master the act during practice, you realize that during the game, it becomes normal for you to hit the ball in every direction. And you realize that you will be gaining advantage over the weakness of the other. Now, that is how creativity plays. That whenever you are talking about communicating something, you ask yourself, who am I communicating to? How will these people be able to see what I am seeing? How will I be able to communicate to their emotion? How can I use a tagline that will be able to communicate powerfully and emotionally to people? Using my graphics, using my video editing, what concept are we trying to communicate? You have a full understanding. Not just understanding of what you're creating, but to whose audience you're doing and how you can be able to keep people glued to this thing. And you begin to ask yourself, how can I do this thing differently? So as a leader, as a team member, how do you see things? Do you see things from this perspective together? And one thing that people have failed to realize as the greatest instrument for growth is in collaboration. Can you criticize my work? How do you see my work? How do you think I would have done it better? Now, a lot of people get angry, especially creative, when I'm an architect. I remember my work during my 200 level. I had to correct my work more than 50 times. Because we are also creators. We only get brief. Go and do this for me. It is our responsibility to find out how well to define those spaces. He will tell you this wall is not good. The way you keep this furniture here is not good. And we keep doing different things. Now, that sense of creativity builds your mind, builds your IQ, builds the way you think. A lot of people don't want to be corrected. A lot of people feel offended whenever they are corrected. But you don't know that it is in the act of correction that you sharpen your skills. So you accept criticism. You allow other people to tell you how they do things. It could be a junior person, but how do you look at it? And that is why for me, one of the greatest strengths I've had in my life's journey is not to allow sycophants. You know who sycophants are? Sycophants are people who will always tell you everything is okay. They will sing to your praise and make you feel good. But in my own life, I've come to realize that the best part of my life were those times when I was corrected how to do things better. It's like a client telling us that, see, this area you don't do good, this area you don't do good. We say, you don't know that we've made money already. You don't know the number of clients we've had. Why are you telling us that? Do you know the number of staff I'm paying salary? Yes, he may not be rich as I am. He may not be as intellectual as I am, but he's able to contribute significantly. Why? Because he is the user. He is the client. Now the question is, how will your client perceive it? They may not be creative, but I can tell you when something does not appeal to them, they know when it does not appeal to them. You can look at it and you say, this thing is beautiful. Everybody is commending. Why are you not seeing what I'm seeing? The question is, can you be able to see what he's trying to communicate? So we must be people who are willing learners. We must be people who are willing to collaborate, to get input from your teammate, to ask questions, to get criticized. And it is important to know why. To what extent? And it is important to always align your thoughts to some certain things. Will this be able to communicate adequately? I will not create confusion. People will understand exactly what I'm communicating. So, if you finish, you call your teammate, 2, 3, please come and see what I have done. What do you think about it? Is there an area that I'm missing? Please give me your notes. And you go back wholeheartedly with the intention to be able to improve on it. It just takes time. You realize that you are becoming the best version of yourself. You're building yourself to be better. So, will it take time? Yes. When somebody corrects you, how do you see that correction? Do you think it's because he doesn't like you? Is it because he's competing space with you? But rather, how do you see it? Very important. The place of collaboration, making input in other people's work. Because you are a team member. So be always willing. There are people that know something they will never be able to teach others. And the essence of the team is for us to be able to communicate things rightly. To be able to communicate how things can be done better. So you are intentional about helping anybody that you see that is weak. Anybody that you see is not at his best. And you can be able to contribute. He may not be good at it, but he can be able to tell you, now, give me graphics work to do. Do you think I can be able to do graphics work? I may not be able to do it well. But I assure you, if I say bad graphics work, I know. And when I see a good graphics work, I know. Because I am the user of the graphics. So sometimes a lot of people think that you cannot even do what I'm doing. So why are you criticizing me? But that shouldn't be the spirit. It's just that the other person has positioned himself, not as a creative this time, but as the user. And he's able to see better than the way you are seeing it. Is it wrong for somebody to see better than you? Nothing. Please, and let me tell you something beautiful about life. God did not create us to see everything ourselves. Can I be able to see what is behind me? Why did God give me that limitation? Why is it that I don't have eyes all 360 on my head? There is a reason. So that is a place where you learn to appreciate other people's input in your life. That is where you'll be able to appreciate other people's contribution to your own life and to the way you do your tasks. Now, the place of innovation in creativity. Now, a lot of people love doing new things, but they don't understand how to be able to do those new things. So let me still get back to my example of playing table tennis. So the best skill to learn after learning the basics of using different fingers, the next ability is to be able to understand how you can spin the ball in different directions that becomes difficult for the other person to pick your ball. And that is the only way to get the point. Now, so if I learn how to hit the ball in one direction, building my skills through innovation will require me to learn how to position the ball. Now, the aim is not just to put back the ball inside that place, but to be able to put it in a position where it's very difficult for my opponent to pick the ball. Now, the place of innovation and creativity lies in your ability not just to be able to do the editing work well, but to ask yourself questions. How do I be able to use different features to be able to communicate my creativity distinctively? Now, the place of building excellence resides in my intentional act of practice and asking myself how I can do it differently. Now, a lot of people keep doing the same thing. There is no room for innovation. There's no room for doing it better. So, your goal is not to do it the way others are doing it. The question is, how do I be able to make and utilize every feature in the tools I'm using? Have I tried this feature? Have I seen how to be able to use this feature differently? So we keep using the same feature again and again and again in the way we do things. But how do I blend, this is blue or black, but how do I integrate this blue or black in a way that changes the dynamics of how this color is being represented? And you need to try it. And let me assure you, your first try, you will laugh at yourself. You may even get offended by yourself. You may not even like what you see. Now, a lot of people just chicken out and get relaxed anytime they try something and it did not work. But people who succeed in creativity are people who don't give up or get discouraged even when they do things that did not give them the results they are acquiring. So, the place of remaining consistent and diligent and say, I will do it again. The place of repetitive learning. Now, it is foolishness to keep doing the same thing and keep getting bad results. So the question is, how do I do it differently in order for me to get a better result? If I tell people that up till today, I'm learning how to speak, I'm learning how to communicate my ideas, because I am the visionary person. I have been able to lead people over time. I've been able to communicate my vision over time. But do you know that up till yesterday, I was asking myself, maybe I'm not communicating my vision adequately. If not, I would have done it better. Some people look at me and say, James, you've communicated the vision, everything, the vision is clear and plain. But I'm asking myself, could there be a better way I would have done it? And I'm improving. And I'm telling myself, I cannot stay where I am. I'm also learning things. I'm also looking at areas that I can do it better. I may have done it yesterday, I may have failed yesterday, but I'm willing to do it again. And not just again, but wanting to do it differently. And not just differently, but excellently. I want to drive something that has not been done before. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be better than what I was yesterday. Yes, yesterday people must have clapped for me. People must have told me you've done well. But the question is, how can I do it better? The place of remaining focused and don't be distracted. You know, a lot of people allow themselves to be distracted by so many things. See, there are many things that can easily distract you as a creative. Many things. And that is why you need to be focused. And let me tell you, one of the things I have seen as the greatest tool for success, not just in workplace, but in my life that I have practiced, and I've come to practice it in every area of my life because I've come to see is the greatest tool for success is the place of remaining focused. Remaining focused, what does it mean? To remain true, steadfast, and clear on what you are pursuing. Clarity gives speed. So if I know that you're here to work, now, there are certain areas of your life you shouldn't play with. And there are many things we involve ourselves in as persons that are just form of distraction for us. And I've come to see that me staying away from every form of distraction and remaining true to that what is important has made me much, much happier. Now, how many of you have ever read the book called Atomic Habits? It speaks of the little things we do that makes the greater difference. That the little behavior, attitude, relationship we keep can significantly affect the result we get on the outside. Now, that is a principle people don't see in bringing it to their business. For me, I have friends, but I have quality friends who are only doing things I am doing or who are in alignment with where and what I am doing. So when it comes to even the kind of content I consume myself with, I consume myself with content that are relevant to what my life goal is at the moment. Now, let me tell you the truth. No matter how well a creative is, your behavior and character affects your productivity and creativity. Because if you are distracted, just imagine maybe you are angry. Please, is an angry man the best creative person? Why? Because he is not in the right sense of what? Emotions. You must protect your emotions. These are little skills that people don't know that affect their entire productivity. When you allow little things affect the way you behave. But the question is, can I guide my behavior? Can I guide how I will behave? The place of self-awareness is very important. Who am I? What do I want to become? What am I pursuing at the moment? What must I become from this day to this day? Because see, where there is no clarity of vision, everywhere is a destination. If I don't know that my goal is to come here and communicate and what to even communicate, I can come and just begin to seek jargons. But I'm also putting my thoughts together to be able to communicate things that surrounds creativity, right? Just imagine I'm here and I begin to talk to you on other areas of engineering. It's not relevant to you. It's not part of what you need to know now. Now, a lot of people want to learn so many things at the same time. But you must be able to put your life in a box. And a lot of people are not disciplined and don't understand the place of discipline in helping them become better. To myself, I will sell. And not just that, I begin to find out what can we do differently now in order for us to sell. This is coming. Can we try this? Can we try this? And suddenly, in some places, we hit jackpot. In some places, when we hit jackpot, we say, how can we do it better? We begin to refine that methodology. So you realize that a lot of times we are looking outwards to learn the best version. Can we go and look for one creative director who brought out the best music in the world? Not knowing that it is people like you. He only guides them. Yes, you can go. So he only guides them to be able to produce what even you, if you allow yourself to be guided by your teammate, you may even produce something better. The best person that owns the best creative company is not the one sitting down to do video editing. He's not the one holding the camera. But he has been able to master the skill and he can be able to tell you, do this, do this. If you give him the camera, he may not even be able to do it. So you realize that he is only harvesting the opportunities that are available for him. It could even be people who are not even as good as you are that did that work. But because somebody could be able to tell them, do this, do that, do this, do this. No, don't do this, don't do this. And they were able to, at the end of the day, you realize something good came out of it. And you are looking, we want to be like that, but not knowing. People want to be like me. People want to start real estate. Me, I am harvesting information from young people who know what they are doing. Other person is going to go and look for somebody who has done 20 years in the industry. But it's how well you've utilized every opportunity that is available to you, then you can make something big out of it. So learn to see greatness in little things that don't even matter. When the Bible tells us to learn from the ants, when you look at the ant, you think as if there is nothing to learn from the ants. But tell me, are there things to learn from the ants? There is one useless animal called wall gecko. Before you realize, he has entered everywhere. And the Bible says you will wonder how that wall gecko get to find out. Everywhere is still, but suddenly you see that wall gecko inside your house. So a lot of times, the little things that should be our learning curve have ended up discouraging us and putting us on the side of the disadvantage. But how well can we be able to learn from the little things that are available for us? You see, every day I sit down to write something. I've learned to put my thoughts in paper. Sometimes I'm going out and I can see a go-slow and I will just pick something out from the go-slow and write a story. I will go to site for inspection. I will just see something and I will write a story. Yesterday, I was on site by 9 p.m. seeing the work that is happening at the central area. And I told myself, if people see me tomorrow, we are commissioning this head office, they'll say, this man get money somewhere, I want free money. He has used it to do money laundry. He has built this place. Where did he get the money? And I wrote a story from it. I'm not just writing a story, I'm sharpening my writing skills. I'm writing how to be able to communicate my experience for the future. It could be something you've seen and you infuse it into your level of creativity. It is my experience that I'm using it to be able to learn what best can I do in order to get the best out of my life. I don't wait to learn from other people's experience. I want to learn from the little experience I am seeing every day. This same thing I am telling you, most of you have seen it play in your life in one way or the other. There's nothing new I'm telling you. I'm only telling you how I have applied it and now you are seeing it in a better way and you are like, wow, this thing, but I have been doing it. You've had people also every day that correct you, but you've not seen the place of, oh, this person's correction can make me better. Now you are the one looking for people to correct your work. Before, you've been angry with anybody who has corrected you. You've been angry with people who have told you, this thing is not good enough. Do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. You begin to criticize. Do you know what I know? Can you even do what? That is the bad mindset that we've always carried along. But not knowing that that is the goal that we are neglecting. Are we together? Okay, have I attempted to answer your question?
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. So I have two questions in one.
Mm-hmm.
The first is something you mentioned. You said your wife leads you from a place of fellowship.
Yes.
As I know that you mentioned that as creatives, our relationship affects how we do our work.
Yes.
Can you please share a bit of insight on how we're able to manage the relationships that we have outside of the workplace in a way that, for example, maybe you go out, you face a challenging situation. How do you marry that into when you come into the workspace? And how can we as women also support the men or the people in our lives who are men, whether they are husbands or boyfriends or fellow colleagues, in a way that we're able to pass the message and we want to pass across them without meeting that wall of resistance that comes from the male either?
Okay. So, the truth of the matter is, humility is key in relating with people. You see, me as the leader, it takes humility for me to know that my subordinates can be better than me. And it takes humility for me to learn from my wife in that context. But the first point of learning was not when she started also behaving well, was when I chose to behave well in order for her to behave well. So, people may be hostile towards you. I have seen employees who challenge me outside of work and even insult me outside of work. Employees. Yes, you'd be like, But they didn't do it personally. They were only expressing their aggression somehow. And I was able to manage those people and still work with them. To some whose behavior gets out of the line, we ask them to go. But most importantly, you will be working with people from different character. Some are rude, some are arrogant. But first of all, you as a person need to tell yourself, let me be humble to learn. Now, that humility to learn attract people to follow you. And that is true leadership for me. I humbled myself first because I wanted peace in my marriage. This was my goal. So I asked myself, if I keep giving this woman ghost bars as she's giving me, she does little things that annoy me, that piss me off. And I told and when I react, it's fire for fire. So I told myself, no, I can't continue to react. Let her offend me, but let me get to understand her first. Let me study her. And that is the place of retreat for me, where I take whatever nonsense she does and I keep quiet. And instead of me shouting back, I'll leave it when we are in a good mood and I will talk gently, calmly, and I notice that she will take correction when I do that. But I've equally rebuked her there and then and say, keep quiet, why are you talking to me like that? Is it not your fault? That was how I was reacting before. But suddenly I changed my approach. And suddenly I begin to get her buy-in to even more of the respect. So when I correct her, she said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. At first, she would defend herself. And I kept doing it. It wasn't something that I got overnight. And of course, in working with people, some people can be naturally rude to you. Some people can be unfriendly to you. Some people can naturally be defensive to you. And sometimes, even us, our behavior is as a result of our experiences that we've had with other people. Maybe when you smile with other people, some may take advantage of you. Maybe you have even been exposed to some sort of abuse. It could be molestation and the likes. And then you don't want to relate with men. Or maybe you has been abused by a boyfriend who beats you and shouts on you and make you feel like a slave. And suddenly you see every man on the street and you feel they are all the same. But the first point is to let go of every pain, of our experiences. Yes, we are a product of our experiences. I behave sometimes the way my father behaves. And I look at myself and say, this is how your father behaves. So. And then we all grow up like that. But the question is, what behavior or attribute do we take that we don't like? And sometimes you may not even be able to change people, but you can leave a mark of goodness and love in people who don't even understand it. So just imagine all of us are gearing towards loving each other. We're gearing towards relating with each other. My orderly yesterday, when we went back home, I called him, I bought a cake for him. We all danced with him. We ate with him. We snapped pictures together. We said dance. I danced with him. That little act of kindness made a lot of difference for him. It won't cost me anything. That is an act of love. So people may not understand you when you are showing them act of love. In fact, be prepared for people to disappoint you. Position yourself. People will disappoint you. People will backbite you. But let love flow from your heart. Be tolerant. Take some shit. Those shits could be a learning curve for your life. And I've come to realize that those things I learn to take, are making me better. Before, I allow everybody, you dare not, I am GMD CEO. That was when I was a young CEO. You can't speak, those things I tolerate now, you can't tell me that then. I will just give you a sack later once and for all. I'm the GMD, I'm the owner of the company, so what? But I've come to realize that now I have become softer. But where did I learn that softness? At home. I've become a better person. What did it remove from my skin after they insult me? Nothing. And I'll even call the person and say, this attitude is bad. It will destroy you. It's not good. I'll still correct the person. But before, the way my heart will boil, the way I'll be so angry inside, I did not even remember that thing hurt me. Now, little things my wife do that should hurt me then, I notice that now it's not hurting me. So little things that I have been able to overcome today is making me a better person. Before I can be hot-tempered. But that has also taught me, and it's benefiting me in workplace today. It's helping me in the way people hurt me, business partners hurt me, people don't keep up to agreement, people are disappointing you today, people are snitching on you tomorrow. But I don't feel hurt. And it gives me a good mental stability now because I have trained myself over time. And now even when you do these things, I will just laugh and just move on. So, first of all is, how do you train yourself? You are aware of things that can eagerly trigger anger in you. And you tell yourself, no, I will not be angry. And you allow love radiate in your heart. That is when you will not take it personal. That is when you will not begin to eat on their nonsense. People will always throw shit at you. People will always throw their banana at you. Just move on. You protect yourself. You save yourself from every pain that comes from. Choose your own happiness. Maybe if I had continued with the way we started our marriage with my wife, maybe we would have had divorce by now. She gives me, I give her. Even when she come back and say sorry, there was a time I did 3 days I did not talk to my wife. She was begging me on something. So just imagine if I continue with that attribute. Maybe I would have groomed a lion in her that anytime I come back home, she will consume me. But now, I have made a pet in my house, and anytime I come, I meet that pet. It's no more a lion. So you can change people. But it starts with an act of kindness, with an act of love, with a sense of understanding, with a sense of patience, with a sense of tolerance. And let me cap it all. It became much easier when I asked God for help. Because by my strength, there are things I can never be able to do. But you see, I've learned to pray about everything. And that prayer consoles me. It gives me strength, even when I'm weak. Have I attempted, madam?
Yes.
All right. You have one?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for the motivation.
Is it a motivation or a strategy class? Both. Okay.
Yeah, but my question is that I want to ask, what tips can you share to us as a creative team to begin to see through your own eyes creatively, so we can be in alignment with both the goals, the mission, and vision of Mshel Homes?
Okay. So maybe the best thing we may have to do is maybe to be taking a vision class per maybe quarter, so that you get to understand what the organization is pursuing. We have always done that, but we've always done that mostly with your creative director or creative Brown. What's that his role, sir? Creative manager. So where we sit down with him, we communicate that vision to him, and we expect that he understands and then he communicates to you. So maybe we may begin to have that in your training calendars, where maybe I come or the MD comes or anybody that is there to communicate what we expect from you. But most at times, first of all, we put the entire picture of what we want to achieve through what we call a strategy document. It is our vision board. That strategy document, we've documented it, so it's not something we just tell you verbally. We document our expectation. So I don't know if all the team members, which they are supposed to have what we call an activity sheet. But beyond that activity sheet, if you look at that activity sheet, you see what is called objective in the first activity sheet. Objective defines to you what we want to achieve with that initiative. And when you look at, there is what we call KPI or metrics on that activity sheet. That activity sheet tells us how we want to be able to measure what you are doing and the result we expect to get from your activity. So by the time you sit down to look at that strategy document, you realize that whether you're a content creator, a video editor, a graphics designer, your contribution gets to a result. So it's very easy from that document. If you pick it as your Bible, you'll be able to see what the organization wants to achieve. And you'll be able to see exactly how well we want to achieve it.